Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the latest episode of the Hard Compound Live. For those of you who don't know, my name's Rich, and I run and operate the Hard Compound. We're a one-stop shop for all things motorsport: 4 wheels, 2 wheels, on-road, off-road, and all the stuff in between, if there is such a thing. We cover everything from F1 to touring cars, IndyCar, NASCAR, rallying bikes. Any breaking news, any driver unveils, livery unveils, throwbacks, birthdays, all the kind of motorsport stuff that we all love, and we try and cover it all under one roof, so we don't miss anything. Excuse me. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And in case you hadn't noticed, we also do live interviews such as this one. These are all streamed on our Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channels. They're automatically recorded. So if you do miss them, you can go back and watch them. They're in the video section on our Facebook and in the live section on our YouTube channel. And if you scroll through our Twitter feed, you will find them all. We've had some fantastic guests on. This list does keep growing, but that can only be a good thing. Just to let you know, some of the people that we've spoken to, we've had the honour and the privilege of speaking with Mr. Mario Andretti and with Jackie Ix. We've also spoken with the likes of Mr. Martin Donnelly recently. We spoke with his teammate, his old teammate, Mr. Derek Warwick, Eddie Cheever, Mark Blundell, David Brabham, Derek Warwick, Stefan Johansson, Emanuele Pirro, Nico Prost, Mika Salo, Will Power, Willie T. Ribbs, I rely on like Danny Sullivan, Carl Wendling. We've spoken with Dick Bennett, with David Addison, the commentator from the World of Touring Cars and GT Racing. We've spoken with Jacqueline Drake, a reporter from the NASCAR side of things. But if you're a fan of touring car racing, and you probably are if you're tuning in this evening, you might like to know that we've also spoken with the likes of Mr. Jason Plato, Tom Chilton, who won at the weekend in the British Touring Car Championship, and the likes of Mr. Matt Neal. We spoke with Jason Plato, John Cleller, Steve Soper, Ivan Muller, Anthony Reid, Gabriele Tarquini, Jerry Marney just last week, Rob Gravitt, and many, many, many more, Frank Sittner, etc., etc. So if you want to check those out, as I said, they're all in the video section on Facebook. They're all in the live section on YouTube. But do not go and watch them just yet, because we have another live guest this evening. A few of the guys that we mentioned are at the end of their careers, but we've our guest tonight is very much at the start, and he's enjoyed a very rapid rise in the last few years to the TCR UK series, probably the most progressive touring car series out there. It is definitely on the up, and he's joined a championship winning team, but we're going to come to that later. So without any further ado, please join me in extending a very warm welcome to Mr. Scott Sumpton.
Hello.
And there he is. Scott, how are you?
All good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, very well, very well. Much better now I've got coffee. It always seems to be the case at this time of day. Scott, thank you very much for coming on and having a chat this evening. Obviously, we caught up at the Auto Sports Show and asked if you'd like to come on. So thank you very much for agreeing. It's great to have you on.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really looking forward to it.
No, it's good, and obviously, you know, you've had a decent start to the season on track. A few little disappointments off it, but we'll come to that shortly. Firstly, though, congratulations on joining the JAS Motorsport Drive Development Program, which we'll come to a bit more later. But that's some good news, isn't it?
Yeah, no, really good. Really looking forward to getting started. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Excellent. It's helped a few drivers along the way, and obviously you're certainly in a good spot. But
Yeah.
just want to turn my attention very quickly to the comment section. Say hello to people. Bert Taylor's in. Who's he?
Hello,
Never
Bert.
heard of him. Evening, Bert. We do hope you're well. We've got Jason Holmshaw is in, John Kane, and many others already commenting. If you've got any questions, any comments, do pop them in, and we'll do our best to work them into the chat as we go. But we've got a little bit to get through, so we're going to crack on, really. Let's start right at the start, I guess, Scott. I mean, where did your interest in motorsport start?
It started just watching it on TV, watching Formula One, watching touring car races, and just having it on maybe in the background with my dad watching it, and just thinking that one day I'd love to do that, and it's just watching it on the TV really, and then going down to the local go-kart track.
Right. I mean, what kind of age were you when you thought, I quite fancy having a go at this, and said, Dad, Can I?
Well, my dad tried to get me in it into go-kart when I was maybe 8 years old, but I never really was interested in it. And then it was just like one time watching it on TV, and it was about 10, I believe it was, and yeah, just 10 just clicked sort of, and thought this is what I want to do, and yes, that's where it all started.
Fantastic. So, like, when you first got in the kart for the first time, I mean, you must have thought, okay, let's have a go. When did you first start thinking, this is great? Because every time I go karting, whether it's indoors or outdoors or have a track day, just getting behind the wheel, you get that kind of grin and you think, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, I think every time for me when I get behind a go-kart, just having a bit of fun with mates at times, I always get a grin. But I think it like, yeah, just going down to the local go-kart track near me, right house, and just doing a few laps there, and going out with my dad out on track, just yeah, just having fun, just the speed and adrenaline. Uh, Maybe the go-karts weren't, well, they were fast for me back then, but still good fun.
I mean, and I think you've mentioned like having fun there 3 or 4 times, which has got to be the basis of it all, isn't it? And obviously, you want to go and win, you want to, progress and do that kind of thing, even from an early age. But it's got to be about having fun first, isn't it? If you don't enjoy doing it, then there's no
Yeah,
point.
exactly. That's what I was always told. If you're not enjoying it, then it's time to pack up, sort of. So yeah, but every time that I get behind the wheel, it's always with a smile on my face.
Which is good. I mean, and obviously, excuse me, I've met you up at Donington Park when you unveiled the car and stuff, and I could see you were absolutely sort of, you thought this looks great, and you were really buzzing to get going. I could tell you were
Yeah.
champing at the bit to get going. When did you first start competing in karts? I mean, and were you initially competitive, like saying, oh, like an elbows out type thing, or was it just a case of having fun?
It was sort of, so I started getting competitive. So I started when I was 10, just doing like a Wednesday after school in like my own go kart, and yeah, just having a bit of fun doing that. Then we met up with this team, and at the time I was quite young and didn't really like confronting people. But my dad went up to this person and started asking him loads of questions, and he said, "Come along, do a race, get your license," and yeah, just it was a slow progression up, but really good progression, getting my elbows out. Yeah.
I mean, and it's a really good proving ground, isn't it? I mean, pretty much everyone that we've spoken to on here, I think with the exception of Rick Parfitt Jr., who began racing lawnmowers against the members of Queen with his parents, but that was a different story altogether. I think everyone started in karts, and I mean, obviously you've been it quite recently. There people doing it years ago. It is a great proving ground, isn't it, for anyone who wants to go racing?
Yeah, go karts are amazing. Just it's just being in the karting paddock as well. Everybody just loves racing, and yeah, it's. I think most people that I know who I'm racing against now started off in go karts, and yeah, it's amazing. It's good fun. And it's competitive as well, which is a good side about it.
Yeah, I think because all the machinery is fairly equal, isn't it? Obviously due to the restrictions and the power and everything,
Yeah.
and it just sort of I don't know. I guess it hones your skills as a driver from a young age before all the performance politics come into it, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you think go karts, if you're good in a go kart and you can get your elbows out, it's no problem stepping up to a car. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. Sorry, folks, I'm a little bit tickly in the throat. Obviously, you've gone karting and you started entering into competitions, and just like progressing, moving towards the front end of packs and learning some racecraft, overtakes, that kind of a thing. On your sort of journey through, I mean, is there anything in karting that really sticks out in your mind? Any races that you remember? Because it's always great hearing about these early stories.
Yeah, I think one of them that I really do remember when I did have a big accident at my house, and that was my first big accident, and that always doesn't play in the back of my mind, but it's always like there, and
Yeah.
but then that sort of showed me, like, I got back into the go kart like a month later and went and done really well. So I think just that massive comeback sort of, and also back at PFI one time in the rain. I don't think I had the best of qualifying, but in the rain just came through and proved to myself that I can do it and do well.
Obviously, that's an impressive thing doing karting in the rain, because obviously you're getting soaked wet through, and they're not really designed for racing in the wet, like particularly. So to be able to do that, and as you say, bounce back from what sounds like a fairly hefty mishap at a young age, it kind of, I guess, it cements in your mind that this is what you want to do and that you can do it as well, which is a huge confidence boost.
Yeah, 100%. It was a massive confidence booster, and just always believing in myself and just always pushing myself to be the best I can.
Yeah, which is what you've always got to strive to do, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've just seen a couple of comments. We've got Kevin Whitewood in from BTCC Blueprints. Evening, Kev. We've got Derek Booth. He says, "Hey, great to see Scott on here." I guess you know. And we've got Darren Thipthorpe from Arai Helmets.
Perfect.
Excellent character. We do hope you're well, Darren. Thank you very much for coming along. And he said he's proud to have Scott as a long-time Arai athlete, which is great. But there's a comment that has just come in from a chap called Chris Smiley. Yeah, he's just said, this sounds like a terrible joke.
Oh, no.
Ask Scott, what's a pirate's favourite TCR car?
Oh, no, it's Type R. He goes on about that every weekend. He does every weekend when we're testing or something. He always tells me that.
Absolutely terrible. Had to set that one up. Thank you, Chris.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, I've just seen a comment in there. Sorry. Yes, Kevin is from British Touring Car Chat on Facebook. Sorry, a slip of the tongue there. Mark Wagstaff's in from British Touring Car Blueprints, BTCC Blueprints, also TCR UK Blueprints. So do go and check those guys out on Facebook. Excellent stuff. Shameless plug for our friends. Happy days. So obviously, when you've gone through karting, I've got here that you started when you were like 10, 11, 12. Was it age 13 you stepped up to the Junior X30 series, sort of more powerful, more competitive. I guess when you step up into a series like that, whether it be in karts or cars or anything like that, something is slightly different, it can be a bit daunting. Did you feel kind of daunted by it at all, or was it a case of bring it on?
Yes, it was quite daunting. I think the first time that I set foot in a X30, I couldn't hold on and my neck was falling off.
Wow.
It was once I got a bit of testing in the go-kart, and then it was still quite daunting going into a big British like X30 grid, loads of drivers in it, and then like some of them have done quite well around Europe and the world. So it was quite daunting. But after I got like one or two races out the way, then I felt part of the grid and getting my elbows out.
Just kind of like settled in a bit and felt kind of part of it. And I mean, just from a little bit of like research that I've done, I mean, you had a number of podiums fairly early on in that series, and you had a couple of wins as well. I mean, again, that's got to be a confidence boost. Like you've kind of worked your way through up to a certain level, made a step, and then you're still competitive. It's got to be a real like shot in the arm, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It 100% was. So it was one of the rounds at Wilton Mill. They do reverse grids or like mixed grids, mixed heats,
Right.
And I think I
Hang on, I think we may have frozen Scott. I'm not sure.
stayed where I was.
Well, there we are. We're back. Sorry. We just froze for a second. Sorry, but we're all good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I thought it was going to be a hard race, but then I came through. I think I finished second. It was, and against some good drivers, and proper gave me a confidence boost. That did.
Yeah, excellent. Which is a huge part of it. We hear about drivers who have made it to the very, very, very top, and they're struggling with confidence. You think, how on earth? But it's a huge thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you also did some races out in France and Belgium in the like Benelux series. I mean, was that just an opportunity that came up, or was it a case of where else can we push ourselves almost?
Yeah, it was sort of a opportunity that came up. I think a few people was doing it in the team that I was in, and me and my dad thought may as well. It's like you may never get this opportunity again. So yeah, so we sort of just took to it, and done really well. It was good over there. It's nice. The tracks are lovely, and it's nice to be racing in the sun.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often, especially not at the moment.
It's
Um,
touching.
I mean, just because obviously we know in the touring car series here in the UK, which we're going to come to soon, it's very different kind of racing to the touring car series, say in Europe or in Australia or anything like that. I mean, I've not done much karting. I mean, is there a difference in like the way we kind of Brits go racing over here, even in karts, and the way they do it out in Europe? Because they seem a bit more polite on track in
Yeah,
Europe.
I haven't experienced the TCR level of Europe yet, but back when I was in go karts, it was yeah, much more fairer. But I think that's like they'll give you room, whereas the Brits wouldn't. But yeah, I think going over there as a Brit, as I've been used to people pushing me wide, pushing me off, stuff like that, and me giving it back to them, it helped me to go over there. And yeah, maybe they didn't like me when I went over there because I got my elbows out a little bit. But
You're that aggressive English guy that went out and started nudging people, and
yeah, one of the dads had a go at me, but he was speaking French. I didn't know what he was saying, so I walked off.
it's just like, okay.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, mate, and just walked off.
I mean, I suppose if it's over there, you're not going to, you probably aren't going to bump into them again, or at least not for a while. So,
Yeah,
yeah. But obviously, obviously a good experience, and I guess we do racing a bit differently over here, which is never a bad thing. Um, excuse me. Just seeing some again in the comments. We've got like Mike Cole. Hello, Mike. We've got Kales Cole. Kales is she's been doing some karting out in Ireland, and she's just moved up into F1000, I believe, and she's doing great things. She came on for a chat last year, so do go and check Kales out if you get the chance. That's Kales Cole. Look in the comments, click on, give her a follow. Big fans. Right, moving on. I mean, so you've done, you've got podiums out on the international stage. You've won races in decent levels of karting in the UK. I mean, when did your eyes and mind start wandering towards cars?
it when I was around about 15. So I think I'd done the European stuff in go karting, and I think it was like time to look up to step to cars, and it was actually so I went to school with Essex or Bradley Kent and Lewis Kent's younger brother.
Yeah, yeah.
So we knew them quite well and was good friends with them. So they said like about the Saxos, the Junior Saloon Car Championship, and yeah, had a little look and went to that.
I mean, just what I mean. Obviously, there's a big step, obviously, in the machinery from the karting to the cars. That's very obvious. Just one thing was we need to touch on because it's the cost which sort of comes into racing, and it's always been expensive. If you've got the money, you're going to go further. That's always been the case, and it's nothing new. I mean, you sort of you got your own car and you funded your way through karting that way. Was there anyone that you kind of sort of like bumped into along the way who offered to help you out, whether it be financially or with just a little bit of backing or help? Because most drivers have got and then I met so and so that really
Yeah,
helped out. Did that happen with you, either in karting or as you made the transition to the JSCC?
I think moving to JSCC it was a difficult time because it was literally as COVID happened. So
Yes.
as soon as we was moving into it, we was all locked away, sort of. But definitely just meeting new people along the way that would give you, maybe not like financially help you, but give you the right advice or try and give you the right advice. And I think that helped massively. Otherwise, I don't think I would have made the step to cars. Maybe I may have still been in go karts, but I think seeing what people done and seeing how much they enjoyed it, yeah, just massively helped me to push me to go into cars.
Yeah, I think that advice can be as helpful as some pound notes in the back pocket, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's like what you make of it. Um, just got a comment here from the guys at the Wired Lobby said they're looking forward to having Scott up at our venue and practicing on the Sims.
very much looking forward to it.
Good people, good people. So I mean, the JSCC, obviously, it's not a team that you're with now, but you made the move with like Team Hard, who we know are. I think they're in every they're in every championship going, aren't they? I think if there
Yeah,
was
I
a
think
moped,
so.
I think if there was a moped championship, I think Tony Gillam would like dip his fingers into it. How did that come about with them?
So it was with Essex and Kent, as they weren't running Saxos. Warren Kent knew Tony and knew that he was running Saxos, and we had a little look, and he spoke to Team Hard, spoke to Tony, and made the move to go to them, as I think they did win the championship the year before, so he thought may as well go with them. Yeah.
It certainly seemed to be the place to go to. Just while on the subject of Team Hard, we do have to say very well done to Nicholas Hamilton.
Oh yeah, that was
Over the weekend.
that was mental.
Absolutely brilliant. Anyone who has a problem with Nick Hamilton getting behind the wheel, I mean, I'm not big and tough, but you can come and take it up with me because I will defend that man to the hilt because he is absolutely unbelievable what he does, and everyone was chuffed to bits, weren't they, with what he did on Sunday.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great.
I think anyone who's seen Nick, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, I mean the guy struggles to walk, so to get in a car and race and do what he does, fabulous. So
Yeah.
Nick, if you ever see this, well done, very very well done, love it. Anyway, back to you, Scott. So you've made JSCC now. Obviously, it feels like the most natural route to take with with the contacts you had, with the Kent family and Tony and Team Hard and everything else like that. Had you ever driven a car before you got into the Saxo?
No, only apart from my ARDS test. So
Crikey.
that it was a bit of a big jump doing gears, like doing the gear shifts. It was it was big jump, and it was difficult to try and get my head round. But it proved difficult. But I'm happy that I took the jump and done it. Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is where the daunting thing comes in. I mean, again, I'll go to mention like another driver who did well this weekend. I spoke with Ronan Pearson a few weeks ago, and he made the similar sort of jump from you, straight from the kart, straight into the JSCC, into the Saxo, I believe. And he said the biggest thing for him was not only the gear shift, but it was like the depth perception, because you're not sitting in the middle of the thing anymore. You're sitting to one side. It's finding where the curbs are. You've got the bonnet and everything else. I mean, he said he felt like he was driving a goldfish bowl for the first 5 laps. He couldn't get the spatial thing right. Was that something that you found as well?
Yeah, I think massively it was. I think just getting used to, because in a go-kart, it's literally sitting right in the middle. It's tiny, but although the Saxo is small as well, it's a massive step up, and just getting the depth right, making sure like you know where like the back of the car is, knowing if you've overtook somebody when you can go in. It's a massive difference, but yeah, it took a little while to get used to, but once I was used to it, it did become natural in the end.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like anything, the more you do it, the easier it comes. Excuse me. And I guess you had no frame of reference when it came to like racing cars, but I mean, I guess when you got into the car, the extra power, once you got used to it, I guess you really started to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, really enjoyed it, and I think the Saxos was a great stepping stone to where I am today. I think it's a good racing. The grids are big, and it's very competitive series. It is,
and it's quite affordable as well compared to some other series out there, which again is a big thing for anyone wanting to make that step up. Before we go any further, we need to sort of just put into context when this was. I mean, you touched on it. This was what, 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any testing time. Was it any, or was it just a little bit? Or
I think I got one little test day in at Bedford, But that's just a test track, isn't it? So yeah, no. So I literally done one little test there at Bedford. I think it was like a week before Cadwell, and yeah, straight into Cadwell, and
Jeez.
yeah, just sort of see where we were.
So it was like your first time driving a car really at speed, not doing an arts thing, and it was a week before the season. I mean, and I guess, I mean, I've looked through the results for that first season, and I don't mean this to come out badly, but you were towards the back.
Yeah,
And I don't mean that in a negative way at all, because you had literally like half an hour in the car.
yeah.
I guess you didn't have any expectations going into the season. It was a case of let's just.
Yeah, I think I always wanted to do as well as I can, and like any move that, any overtake that I could do, I'd always like put myself like to go and do it. But yeah, once I knew that it was going to be difficult to make the step into a car, and yeah, it was just sort of always about learning as quickly as possible.
Yeah, sure. I mean, just to sort of excuse me, just to step back, just one step. I mean, obviously you've gone into the season almost sort of green, I guess you call it, don't you? I mean, you've barely been in the car. I mean, was there any danger that you weren't going to make the grid because of COVID and any backing and sponsorship, or were the team very good on that side of things? Were they saying that?
Yeah, no, it was always. Well, I didn't even think we didn't know if we was ever going to get racing that year. It
Sure.
felt like although it seems like yesterday that it happened, it just felt so long, sort of. So we were sort of just waiting for that green light to go racing, and once we knew that we could, then it was all about just making sure everything was in in and ready to go, sort of.
Yeah, so you were ready to rock and roll. I mean, and you mentioned the first round at Cadwell. What a circuit to go to! I mean, it's a shame it's so narrow, the track, because I think it would be great for for all series to go there, especially up the mountain, the hill there.
Yeah, it's
Always good when you watch the bikes flying off the top of that. It's great fun. But I mean, that is a challenging circuit for your first car race. And as I said, I mean, you qualified at the back, but you weren't far off the pace. It wasn't like you were 2-3 seconds behind. You were half a second off the mid pack or something.
yeah. No,
Which is proper impressive.
yeah, no, I was really happy with it. I think the qualifying session, from what I remember, didn't go as well as I would like to. I think I was a few tenths off, but well, no, quite like a bit off. But once got into that racing situation, I had somebody to chase. Then I think that's how you learn very quickly, getting in behind somebody and having that grit and determination to try and get past them.
Yeah. And also seeing what lines they're taking, where
Yeah,
they're breaking, that kind of a thing, and just learning as you go, which is obviously invaluable given that you had very little testing.
yeah.
Um, I've got a note here though. Unfortunately, you didn't finish that first race. I mean, what happened?
I think I got hit from behind. I still remember it. I think I overtook somebody. I think I got a little bit away from them. I think it was like a longer race than doing a go-kart race. I think my concentration went, and then he started catching me back up. It was going into the last corner of the last lap, and he just went for a move, and I turned in. Maybe that depth perception, maybe because I
Yeah.
think it's his first race in the car as well,
Right.
and yeah, no, I think I thought I had the line. Maybe he thought he had the line. I just got tapped from behind and ended up in the barrier. But it was all a big learning curve. But yeah, no, it's good racing.
That's the thing. I mean, obviously nobody ever wants to end up in a barrier, of course. But I mean, you've gone the whole race. You've overtaken people. You've got into the tussle, and as you say, it's all part of the learning, and you can take a positive from it.
Yeah,
So we've got Mike Cole there. He said that the F1000 holds the outright lap record at Cadwell. It's insane to see them over the hill. It is. To see any car going over that hill. I mean, what's it like to drive? Because it looks great fun.
yeah. In a sack site, it felt really fast. You'd literally just be, because you have to drop down to second gear before going up it. Yeah, you're just on the limiter in second gear trying to pull you up, and it does feel fast, and you even get a little bit of wheel spin at the top when you go over the crest. So Yeah,
Fantastic.
no, it's good fun. It is really
I'm going
good.
to get myself on a track day, see if I can get me some wheel spin. Um, excuse me. But later in the meeting, I've got, again, just from looking at the results. I mean, you took 16th, which is no mean feat on a big grid like that, and you passed a chap called Oliver Cottam, who's obviously one of your competitors now.
Yeah,
That must have been good, to get that first finish and make up some places, and again, that confidence thing.
yeah. I think so. It was all like always about confidence, and I think it was hard to build. But once you start like overtaking people and believing that you can do it, then that for me was massive. And yeah, to get past Oliver Cotton, because I think he'd done not too sure if he'd done the last round of the season before,
Right.
but to get past him and to have a race with him was good. So yeah.
Yeah, because he had a bit more experience, as you sort of touched on there. I mean, he'd done a bit more. I mean, just sort of looking at the next couple of rounds. I mean, you took 10th at Croft. First top 10, which is what round, second, third round.
Yeah.
Then you got like 17th at Brands Hatch, and so I mean, so you obviously, you've got to grips with the car and the series, and you're getting your elbows out, getting stuck in. Once you get 2 or 3 rounds in, I guess you're feeling much more confident, and you're thinking, I can do this.
Yeah, no. When I got to that 10th at Croft, I still remember it to this day. That was another good race. It was a bit hectic at the start, and cars going left at like off to the left, off to the right. But yeah, no, it was a really good race, and got my elbows out there, and yeah, it get massive confidence boost. That was.
Yeah, sure. I mean, two things about Croft actually. I think to those of us who see it on TV, I mean, I've never actually been. It's a long way from here, but it from drivers that I've spoken to, it doesn't look that quick on TV, but it's a fast circuit, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going there next weekend. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in the sack side, it felt quick going into sunny in and sunny out. You're just properly on the limit, and yeah, nice. It is a fast track. It is.
Yeah, love watching it there. Just one more thing from a driver's point of view. Now we've seen on various series they have these little silly, little flappy, little bollard things on the inside of the first corner. Are they completely pointless?
From a driver's point of view, yes. If it was my way, you'd be able to get all like four wheels over there, sort of. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think but from a steward's point of view, and I think Palmer's point of view as well, they want to keep their grass nice,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I think it's I think track limits are there, and they are like it is what it is. But yeah, no, I think if it was my way, just get rid of them and then yeah, use all of it.
You can get on it. It just for me, every time I watch any kind of racing there, mainly the touring cars, I'm always just there, messaging some of my friends saying, how long is it going to be before one of them goes flying? And it's like the fourth car through,
Yeah,
cleans it out.
I think at Croft, I'm not too sure. You know, when you go into the first corner of Croft, you've got the bollards on the left before the corner.
Yeah.
I think like in British touring cars, I think they just knock them off so they can use more track on entry.
Yeah, just sort of opening the corner up a little bit more
Yeah.
speed. So but open it up on the outside and the inside. What we got? Oh god, we got Andy. Oh, Andy Hopley, Hopper's Motorsport Blogs. Check them out. He's in. Evening, Andy, and he and Kales Cole have both said I've got to go to Croft. Well, if someone could pay for my hotel and my petrol, I will. No, it's on the list, folks. It's on the list. It's a fantastic circuit. Thomas Parker, one of our friends in the Orange Army, big shout out to them, especially for getting wet on Sunday. And he said, yeah, the marshals are awesome and the TCRs are quick on the circuit at Croft, which we're going to find out. Hey, next weekend. Fantastic stuff. One thing I've got to say, you went up to Knock Hill after that.
Yes.
I think it's it's right up there with one of everyone's favourite circuits, whether you're a driver or a fan. Did you enjoy racing around Croft in the Saxo?
Yeah, I loved it. I think the results weren't the best from what I can remember. I think I had a few little incidents there, but the track's amazing. It's just like a roller coaster. It is. it's always up and down, and you have to be on it there. It's yeah, I love the track. Probably one of my favourite.
Yeah, it's superb. I mean, as I say, I can only speak from a fan's point of view. I've only done the bit from the hairpin round to Duffer's Dip, and it's absolutely crazy. It's a proper circuit in my book.
Yeah.
It's elevation changes, fast tight bits, but also you guys ran it the wrong way round, didn't you? You sort of went down the hill to the hairpin and then the other way.
Yeah. So
I think.
one
Wow.
day we've done the clockwise circuit. The next day we've done the anti-clockwise circuit, and
Jeez.
that was something to get your head around, because one day you'd be it was just mental. But yeah, no, the anti-clockwise was good, going down the downhill chicane.
Yeah, I bet the car goes light and
Yeah, it's mental, to be fair. It goes really light as soon as, because you have to use the curve on the left, use all of the track, and yeah, no, it was good. It was properly on the limit going down there. It was.
fantastic. And also, I mean, the one thing I sort of stuck a thing in my mind. I mean, I can picture the rest of it, but I can't imagine going down the hill on the main straight down to that hairpin. I mean, it's a good thing that normally you're kind of slightly uphill to that hairpin because you need all the help you can get to get the car stopped. But downhill, you're a passenger, aren't you?
You're going into quite some speed, and it's a good overtaking is where it was. You could send a few moves up the inside, but yeah, no, it was mental. It was. I don't. Everybody asks me, what way do you like it more, and I'm still both the track anti-clockwise and clockwise. It's just an amazing track.
Awesome, which is good. I mean, and it's one of very few, isn't it, that you can run both ways.
Yeah.
That they're allowed to do it. Oh, crikey, we've got a question from Darren Thipthorpe. What's your favourite Indian restaurant? And he's put a big laughing face. I don't know whether we can answer this, can we?
Yeah, no, it's Gandhi's at Donington, near Donington. Love Gandhi's. Yeah, no, we've been there a few times. We have, and it's amazing. It is.
Excellent. That's on the list. It's made the list.
You'll have to go. Have you been or not?
I've not been to I've not been to Gandhi's. I mean, I've been to Donington a few times, but I've not been to Gandhi's.
You have to go to Gandhi's. It's amazing. It is.
I have to check it out. Shout out. Check it out, folks. Give them some business on a race weekend. It's always good. Mike Cole said he's going to sort out some Croft stuff for me. Lovely. Andy Hopler, yeah, said that must be a bit of a challenge going the other way around, but boy, it seems fun. That's a good question before we move on. Just another question. Is there another track you'd like to run the opposite way? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good one.
I don't know. That is a good one.
My brain's gone straight to Donington now, going up the Crane of Curves, but that feels a bit weird.
I don't think any other track would work. Croft wouldn't work. I don't think Brands Hatch would work.
No, because it did originally, way back in the day. They used to go the other way.
Really?
But that was when it was a grass track. But anyway, sorry. But they haven't done it for 100 years now. So
yeah, no, I can't think of any other track that would be good the other way around.
That is a good question. Anyway, I have to have a think. I think Donington.
So that would be quite cool, going up the Crane of Curves. But I think the good part about it is the normal way is the speed that you carry down there.
Yeah. Crikey. Just thinking Brands Hatch GP. Could you come thumping down, go up Pilgrim's Drop? No. Oh, who knows? Good question, though. That's going to get us all thinking.
Yeah.
And if you've got any answers, folks, stick them in the comments. Good stuff. Right. Anyway, you've digressed. From what I've got, I mean, you sort of the rest of that year, you're kind of finishing sort of 15th, 16th, sort of 17th. You had a disqualification at Mallory. I don't know if you want to go into that or not.
that was a depth perception. I thought he was a bit further away than he actually was, and I think we just got caught a little bit, and just ended up in the barrier. But
racing incident.
Yeah.
Happy days. Oh, someone's just said that Alton Park would be interesting the opposite way. Cool.
That's what I was just thinking. I reckon that would be good, going down into the last corner reverse. That would be good.
Oh, crikey, yeah. Thumping up, yeah. God, this is great. Anyway, cool. Yeah, Alton Park, good shout. But yeah, and but yeah, that kind of pattern that you had of finishing 15th, 16th, a few DNFs and stuff, it kind of followed through like Silverstone and through Silverstone and Alton Park, places like that. But overall, I mean, were you happy with that first season, with the way it went? Because obviously, with no testing, no time in the car, first time in the car, um, were you
Yeah,
happy with how it went?
yeah, no, I was happy. I think I wanted to do better, but I think it was a good learning year in the Saxos, and yeah, no, it did set me up nicely for the second year in it. But you know, I was happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Um, I mean, I guess 2021. Did it feel like your first kind of proper season with a pre-season and obviously having a bit of knowledge of the car? I mean, did it feel like you were thinking, right, I can really have a good crack at this year because you know you had more of a pre-season, you had more of a feel for the car.
Yeah, I think 2021 was the season that had more confidence, and it felt like I could be a part of it, sort of. And you know, I really enjoyed the 2021 season. It was again, it was an up and down season, but another one that I learnt in. I think that's what the junior series are about, just learning, and yeah, that's just learning, really.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about results and where you finished and things like that, and but as you say, I mean, they're almost secondary in these kind of series, in these junior series, so to speak, because it's all part of the learning and the racecraft and learning where to make moves
Yeah.
and all that kind of a thing. I mean, I guess you didn't really have any sort of targets for podiums or anything like that. It was just a case of more learning, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I always wanted to get on that podium. I don't think I'd done it in the JSCC, but no, I think yeah, just learning massively, just car control, uh, and how to the body roll of the car as well. Because like going from a go kart to a car, little go kart's 140 kilos, whereas a big old 1 ton car, it's a yeah, quite a weight difference, and just learning how to manage that weight. But yeah, no, I think it was that 2021 season as well. Certainly better than 2020 season, but yeah, just still learning really.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I saw right on the right on the pace. You were you qualified sort of 13th Cadwell, took 11th. 7th in the second race of the season. From starting 14th. I mean, as you say, it's that instant sort of improvement that you had. One thing I do remember seeing, I saw this on YouTube. I don't quite remember why, but I remember that you qualified 9th at Snetterton, but you got caught up in an accident on that one. I don't know if you remember that. I remember it being a bit of a shunt. And there was something going on, and it was a shame because you qualified really well.
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly where it happened. It might have been at the end of the straight, the Brundle Straight. I'm not sure, but
I'm not too. I know I may have had an incident. To be completely honest, I think I had a few incidents that year and the year before, but you know, I think it was that mid pack. Just getting out of that mid pack was quite difficult because
yeah,
there was just so many incidents. But
yeah,
yeah, no, I think it could have been. I think I may have had a little coming together at Snetterton, probably.
yeah. But it happens all down the grid.
Yeah,
But I mean, obviously that year, as I said, you were finishing sort of on the fringes of the top 10, things like that. So there was the improvement with the results as well. One thing I did want to ask about was the circuit at Pembury because it's known as a test track for I think like W Series do testing there, and back in the day the F1 guys weren't there for testing, but it doesn't really get used much for a lot of the top end motorsport, probably because of the facilities where it is. But firstly, it's in a beautiful place. But
yeah.
secondly, what's the circuit like to drive? I've always wondered because it's sort of up on the sort of I don't know, sort of down there in Wales, isn't it? It's nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. To be fair, it's very abrasive on the tyres because most of the corners are right-handers, so the
Right.
left front was just getting mullered. But but yeah, no, it's really good track, good to race in, good to race on. There's like a few good overtaking points there as well. Most of the corners were quite hard on the brakes, so yeah, no, it's good for overtaking and good for racing there. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's cool. We need to get some more. We need to get some more series there because it is a
Yeah,
fantastic looking circuit from what I've seen. Oh, Bert's just said that Castle Combe the other way around would be interesting. Blimey,
that would be far.
that would be rapid, wouldn't it? I mean, it's not slow as it is, but that is pretty rapid. Excuse me. So you've had those 2 seasons in the JSCC. I mean, were you thinking of having a third season, or were you wanting to progress at that point, going into what would it be, 2022?
Yeah, I sort of wanted to progress, and no, I loved my time in the Saxos, but I believe I was too old to go into it for a third year, I believe. So I had to look to move somewhere else, and
Guess you were no longer a junior.
yeah, I was no longer a junior. So yeah, no, I was looking to go somewhere else, and had a look at the mini challenge. That looked quite good. Genesis GT5s as well,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
series, but then
Yeah, cool.
they are quite cool cars, aren't they? The racing's good in it, and yeah, no, it was looking everywhere. I did test a GT5,
Okay.
and I loved it. To be fair, it was good, and I wasn't too far off my first time out in the car. Yeah, no, it was just seeing what I wanted to go into.
Yeah. I mean, was it a case, sorry, was it a case once again of like financing and backing and sponsorship, or was it just sort of just seeing what was kind of best for you either then or in the future? I mean, or was it a combination of things that you were sort of weighing up?
It was sort of a combination of things. So I think for me to take, it was a massive step up into TCR, and I knew it was going to be difficult to take to, but I thought if I got a year under my belt, then it would help me in the future sort of, because I've already driven the car sort of,
Sure.
and yeah, no, I think it was a massive step up, but I think from anything, if I was to do GT5 to TCR, it was still going to be a big step up. So I thought you may as well jump in the deep end, sort of, and figure it out when you're in there, sort
Yeah,
of.
figure out when you get there. But I mean, and as you say, I mean, if you're going to take a step up and it's going to feel like a big leap anyway, you may as well take it early and get yourself used to it, rather than not having like a needless season in the middle. But if there's an opportunity to step up as far as you can without
Yeah,
biting off more than you can chew, then I guess you want to take it, don't you?
yeah, 100%. I think most people that I knew and who had raced against, they thought it was a massive step up and thought that I was just gonna be running around at the back. But no, I think if I had the opportunity to go and do it, and you may as well, because like again, you may never get that opportunity again to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, took to it well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just while we're on the subject of the various series, I mean, there's the obvious comparison that's going around at the moment between TCR UK and the BTCC. And I mean, they're both touring cars series, but that's pretty much where the comparison ends, isn't it? I mean, they're completely different animals. And I mean, did you have an eye on? I mean, you mentioned the mini challenge. I mean, did you have an eye on the sort of the GT, the GT5 mini challenge BTCC kind of route, or was it just sort of seeing what was in front of you?
It was sort of just seeing what was in front of me and knowing Essex and Kent really well. That did sell it to me as well, sort of,
Yeah,
because good mates with them, and yeah, it was just sort of like the opportunity was there, may as well take it. And I think, yeah, I think if I wanted to go to do mini challenge GT5, like you said, they're not like a yeah, I think I still would have learnt loads doing them, but I think they're just years of building up to something when I could sort of like try and get there quicker.
yeah. As you say, take that bigger step earlier, and maybe just fast forward things a bit, perhaps.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, the first car you were in, you mentioned it was with like Essex and Kent Motorsport. First car you were in was the Hyundai i30. I mean,
yeah,
again, did that feel like a step up, like the same kind of step up from karts to the Saxo? Because the Hyundai is, I mean, it's a fantastic little car, isn't it?
yeah. No, it's an amazing little car, but I think this was the biggest step up. I've done quite a lot of testing on my simulator and just trying to get used to it, but nothing could ever. It was just mind blowing how fast it was and how much grip it had.
I mean, I can't imagine that kind of step up. I mean, as you say, there was like the body roll on the Saxo and things like that, which isn't so much of an issue on these cars because they're sort of stiffer, aren't they? A bit more
Yeah,
rigid. And absolutely amazing sort of cars to drive. I mean, to go from what karts to TCR UK in what was it?
2 years.
I think was it 2 years, 2 seasons, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's great. I mean, that is a rapid step up. I mean, what did you think the first time you got into a TCR UK? Was it like this is awesome? Or was it-
yeah. I think the first lap I took quite slow, and then I think I got to the second lap. It was at Brands Hatch. I just put my foot down, and I think I just started laughing inside the helmet. I think it did take my breath, and I think just getting used to it, just building up to it. I think it was just amazing, and I never like from when I was in go karts to that time then last year, I never thought like a 10-year-old me would be like racing a touring car.
Sure, sure. I mean, I've my very limited exposure to touring cars. One of your competitors actually took me round for 3 laps at Donington at Media Day. Um, in one of the Audis, he took me round. Brad took me round for
Yeah,
3 laps in the wet, and they are awesome. I mean, they are proper. It's just incredible. I mean, in the wet, crying the curbs.
yeah,
Even as a passenger, I mean, you mentioned that when you floored it, you started laughing. I laughed for 3 laps. Brad Hutchison must have thought I was a lunatic.
yeah,
I mean, it's the braking that got me. I mean, was that a surprise to you as a driver when you slammed on the jam the first time?
yeah. Well, no. So when I was before I hopped into the Hyundai, I done a test day. Stuart Lyons put on the like you get 30 minutes in the car sort of. So I done that at Donington in the Audi, and I was never used to left foot braking, so I hit it with my left foot, and we just wasn't slowing down. I had Lewis in the passenger seat with me, and he was like, "Scott, you need to start braking, brake harder, brake harder." But we made it round the corner. But yeah, no, once I got used to left foot braking and proper hitting the brakes hard, this does take you by surprise and proper, yeah, puts you forward in the seat.
Yeah, it's amazing. I made the mistake of having a sausage roll before. Oh, yeah, he almost had to clean the inside of his windscreen. But I mean, it was absolutely amazing cars. And I guess were you again just treating it as a learning curve when you went in there? It was a case of look, this is a brand new car, super competitive championship. Um, I guess there's no target set. It was just a case of let's just go and see how we do and
Yeah,
learn as much as you can, I guess.
yeah, 100%. I think it was another massive step up, and just seeing where I was finishing, seeing how well I did, and always trying to push myself from one weekend to the other.
Yeah, and you mentioned from one weekend to the other. There, I mean, the first weekend you took 14th and 10th were your first two results. I mean, a top 10 in your second ever TCR UK race, 2 years out of karts. That is mighty impressive.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I was again qualifying didn't go to plan, but when I got put in that race situation and having someone to chase and seeing where they're braking, turning, etc., that that did help me out massively, and I've really chuffed with that second race.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was at Alton Park, which is one of the more challenging circuits, certainly from
Yeah,
the spectator's point of view. So to have taken 10th, second race, Alton Park.
yeah, it's like Cadwell, isn't it? It's not no room for error, sort of. Otherwise, you're going to be on the grass. So yeah, no, I think I did take a few little trips to the grass every now and then,
Oh, you
but
have to, don't you?
yeah, no, it
Just
was
wondering where the limit is, that's all.
that's all it was. I was just pushing the limit a little bit, seeing how much I Yeah, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good stuff. And again, going into going on, you had another top 10 at Donington Park, which again another challenging circuit. Um, you I'd like you took a 12th in the triple header race at Brands Hatch.
Yeah,
Um, so it was that consistency was there from the start, which must have it must have helped like settle you into the championship.
yeah, 100%. I think it was good and racing people. So like Jess Hawkins and going
Yeah,
down Brands Hatch, like good. Everybody's a good driver on that grid. There's no billies on it. So yeah, no, to be racing people like that and like putting them under pressure, overtaking them, it just massive confidence booster.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Excuse me. Obviously, Alton Park, the second one, sort of weekend to sort of forget. It didn't kind of go well on that second one round with the results. You were a bit further back, but and then you got disqualified at Castle Combe. I mean, when you have a little run, when you've got some consistency going, and you have a few little blips, I guess, and a disqualification. I mean, that's got to be frustrating because you want to keep the momentum going, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It was a little bit frustrating. It was. I always try and keep myself in like positive mindset and try and not let anything get in my way. But sometimes it is very difficult. So yeah, I think I had it was a weekend at Alton Park, the second round of the second race at Alton, and yeah, just had no luck with reliability. And then moving to Castle Combe, I qualified sixth, and that was amazing. I was on pace there,
Yeah.
really fast. Then I think I finished 10th, and the wheel speed sensor wasn't working. Just like a silly little thing, but yeah, the rules are rules, so I had to start from the back and fight my way through. But yeah, no,
I
it's
mean,
good.
but it's good knowing that the pace is there,
Yeah,
in the car and in you. And the season ended early, didn't it? I mean, you didn't take on was it the last three races? Was it? I think to remember.
no, I think it
Or was
was
it?
yeah, no, I did, but it was a little bit. So at Donington, I had contact the first corner, and that ruined my race. For the whole weekend, it cracked the gearbox casing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there was. I think we could have run it, but it was a high possibility that could have all gone wrong and ended up a bigger bill. So we didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I guess it's not worth the risk, and that there's the financial and the safety side of it as well. You don't
Yeah.
want people exploding, but fair enough. What we got here? Thomas Parky's just talking about this season, which we're going to come to right now. I mean, obviously, we've got Bert Taylor in, so we've got to be nice to him. Bert's listening. Thank you for sticking with it, Bert. Again, I mean, obviously Bert's listening, but I mean, was there any plan to stay with Essex and Kent Motorsport, or was it a case of, were you aware that Bert and Restart Racing were expanding? I mean, how did it all come about for this year?
It was actually at the last. I believe it was the last round at Donington Park, and no, it wasn't Donington Park. It was but sorry, it was Donington Park. I think I was just running through the paddock, and Bert shouted me over, and yeah, no, he said he was looking for another driver, and if I wanted to go over, he was more than happy, and yeah, it was sort of all stemmed from that really. It wasn't an easy decision to make because Essex and Kent are lovely people and they are a good team.
Yeah,
But seeing how uh, Bert run Chris, well, Bert and Ben run Chris and the whole team, it was just amazing. And yeah, no, I was really honoured to even have that opportunity to be asked to go to them.
yeah. Well, fantastic to be headhunted by the reigning champions. I mean, that's pretty good. Well, I guess they weren't champions at the time, but we do have to say congratulations to Bert and to Chris and to Ben for the championship last year. Especially after Bert's health issues that he's had.
Yeah,
Fantastic to see him back, and yeah, I mean, to have the opportunity to join the newly expanded team. I guess you said it was obviously a difficult decision to make to leave Essex and Kent Motorsport, but I guess when it comes to push comes to shove, I mean, it was It was one you couldn't say no to, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it was, and just seeing the like Honda out on track as well. Chris is an amazing driver, and like having him there as well also sold it to me because could learn off of him, and he's won races in British touring cars, won races in TCR, so learning off of him would have helped me to make that decision as well, and yeah, couldn't really say no.
No, sure. And Chris is a lovely chap. I mean, he's come on for a chat a couple of years ago. It was great to finally meet him for the first time at Autosport and up at Donington. And yeah, I mean, it just feels like a really well-run team.
Yeah.
Loads of experience. And I mean, I had a little whisper from Bert that you're there for hopefully a couple of years without giving too much away.
Definitely. There's way things are going now, and like just there's no reason why I can't stay here for the rest of my career. Hopefully, it's just amazing how the teams run. Bert and Ben are lovely people. The whole team is just this nice like feel to the team, and no, I'm really happy that I made the move.
No, fantastic. Oh, Mark Wagstaff from BTCC and TCR UK Blueprints has just said family is the ethos of Restart Racing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it comes across as well. You can. It just feels different. I mean, I hung around the garage a bit at media day, and yeah, and it feels everyone's just there because they love it, and they all help each other along, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it is. Everybody wants to win, and they all want to have a good time winning as well. So no, that's what it's all about, and that's like I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, fantastic. Excuse me. Obviously, Chris has got a nice shiny new car this year. The first man in the world to race. The new Civic. Is the car that you've got, again, without giving anything too much away, is it his old car that you've got?
No, it's
Or is
not.
it
This is actually Pepe Oriola's Brutal Fish one
Oh, okay.
that he raced in TCR Europe.
In
Yeah,
the Europe, yeah.
so yeah, it's we got the car off of Stuart Lyons, and no, it's a lovely car to be fair. I love it.
Yeah. And yeah, the Honda Civic, it's a fairly well established. Well, it's a very well established touring car. I mean, it's been raced for for many years. Great success in the UK and around the world. And it's and it looks cool as well. I think everyone loves the way it looks, which helps. Which does bring me on actually to your livery this year. I mean, it's really striking. I mean, I don't know if I was one of the first people to see it. I don't know, but I came wandering around the corner and I saw the car. I was like, that looks fantastic. You've had sort of white and sort of pink a lot in over your sort of racing sort of over your career thus far. Is it just colours that you like because they stand out?
Yeah, so it's actually X-Swift for my main sponsor's colours. So I try and keep it as much as pink as possible. But to be fair, I actually quite like the colour now.
Yeah.
I think it stands out, and not many people. I don't think anybody else has got pink on their cars. So no, it stands out, and no, I love it. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean it's a fantastic looking car, as does Chris's. We should say as well. I mean,
but both of these cars, aren't they?
Absolutely brilliant looking cars. How much input do you have on the actual livery? I've started asking drivers this because obviously you've got to keep it with your sponsors. We've got the Wide Lobby saying it works well for them too. The Wide Lobby also running pink, which is good. But obviously you've got to keep it on brand with your sponsors, which is obviously a huge thing. But do you have any input saying, "Oh, I want a bit more pink there, or a bit of white, bit of grey"? Do you have any? How much input do you have on it?
Yeah, no, massive input. To be fair, I think it's always having to keep the sponsors happy, and it worked well. So the pink works with X-Swift, he works with the Wide Lobby, and just trying to get something that benefits everybody and looks overall like lovely, sort of. And I did have a big input in it, and I do quite like designing stuff myself. So I had a little go at it, seeing what worked, and yeah, no, Russell Joyce Design done an amazing job. So I went over to his and said like, do a little bit here, do a little bit there, and yeah, no, it turned out really nice.
It has turned out absolutely beautifully. And also you took it to the track, for the first time in anger at Snetterton. Was it a couple of weeks ago now? As I alluded to at the start, I mean, it was some positive running, but it was frustrating in a way, wasn't it? Because you ran so well in the first race
Yeah.
with the team.
Sorry.
Sorry, because you ran so well in the first race with the team. I mean, you were running up at the top end, weren't you?
Yeah, no, that went really well. To be fair, I was really well. Qualifying went really well. Qualified 10th, really happy with that. And then in race one, made up a position and had good battles throughout the race as well. Really happy with it. But yeah, no, just a little bit. The result was there. I was really happy with that top 10 finish. And looking forward to starting second. It would have been, but yeah, just a little mistake with the tyre allocation and scanning the tyres. But look, it's racing. Everybody makes mistakes, but it made for a good second race as well, which I was chuffed with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was I think the term is scything your way through, isn't it? Because unfortunately due to the tyre issue in the first race, you had to start at the back.
Yeah.
24th. And was it 11 cars you passed?
Yes, it was. I think a few people had like maybe one or two people broke down. A few people had a little off, but yeah, no, from that race, it was hard because I had to bring myself back up. But I think I was in such a positive mood with how the car was, and again, like I said before, that family feel in the team. Everybody wants you to do well and wants you to like go forward. So it just sort of hyped me up and got me in the right headspace for the second race, and I knew I was going to go forward. There was no doubt in my mind about it.
And I guess, obviously it's great having the people around you to, say, yeah, I'll just go out and do your thing. But again, does it come back to case of, you're still a young racer, and obviously you want results and podiums and trophies and things like that for the mantelpiece. But was it a case of just going out and just, again, learning the car a bit more, driving, making some overtakes without worrying too much where you actually finished in the end? I guess that's not the priority at this stage of the season and at the stage of your time with Restart Racing.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's like you said, I'm going to be spending lots of years with Bert and Ben, and I think it's a program rather than just like do 1 year and leave. And I think just building on where I started, and yeah, just having no pressure to like, I've wanted to do well, and I was really happy with that weekend at Snetterton. And again, building on it, going to Croft, hopefully qualify better, race better, get some better results. And yeah, that's what it's all about. Having no expectations, just going out there, doing my thing, having fun, and the results will eventually come.
Absolutely, and that's the best way. I always think that's the best way to approach it. So many people put pressure on themselves, certainly in certain other series where there's big money sponsorship and it costs a lot to run and
Yeah.
no prize money, things like that. There's perhaps more pressure on the drivers to deliver for the sponsors and those who have invested. Whereas it feels like with Bert, there's a comment here from Darren, from Darren Thipthorpe. And he said Bert has an infectious way about him that attracts the best people to the Restart family, which is absolutely true from what I've seen. You know far better than I do, and so does Darren.
Yeah.
But and it really feels like that infectious sort of enthusiasm has rubbed off on you, because I can tell you just look like you're absolutely buzzing to go to Craft. You've enjoyed Snetterton regardless of disqualification, and it just feels like a really good fit for you and the way you want to go racing as well.
Yeah, 100%. Both me and my dad want to go there and have a good time. Like every time we go. And I think that's the thing with Bert and the whole team. Like Darren said, he gets the right people in. Everybody works hard and then has a laugh when it's the right time. But yeah, that's what it's all about, and it's good having them people around because it doesn't feel like a chore to go racing, or like it just feels like you're going to have a good laugh with mates at times, sort of.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah,
Absolutely love that, because I mean
yeah,
that can often be the case when you're like 11 and karting, but when when you sort of grown up a bit and you're in car racing, that's a rare thing to find, I think.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, you said like the results will come. I guess you're not setting again. I mean, we talk about targets. I mean, we're not setting any targets for the year. I mean, obviously, you'd like to get up at the top end and things like that, but I guess you're not putting pressure on yourself for that. You're just gonna go and see what happens. And
Yeah, 100%. Look,
it will come.
if the podium opportunity or like to win a race, the opportunity is there, but it's not at the forefront of my mind. It's just for me, it's just about banging in them constant results, the top 10 finishes, and yeah, again, just learning. It's a new car to me, and yeah, it's an animal of a car, but yeah, just getting them results and. Yeah, just keep on building for the seasons to come as well.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, yeah, as you say that, it's not just all about this season, obviously, but this season. I mean, are there any circuits that you're looking forward to going to race at in the Civic? Do you think there's some that you're thinking, oh, it's going to be a beast around that circuit, or might struggle around that one, or is there anything like that in your mind at the moment, or are you just going to hit it head on?
Uh, I am really looking forward to going back to Knockhill. That is one that I'm looking forward to, and also Alton Park as well. I remember the stop when I was in the Hyundai, seeing Chris come past me in the Honda, and just looking at it, thinking that car does look good. Just the way how it danced around the corners as such, it just looked like a proper race car, and it's a privilege to be in one.
And it just feels like that kind of a circuit is set up well for it, certainly in this series with the regulations and things like that. Because obviously, again, just very into the BTCC, it's more sort of there's more changes made to the actual road car, as it were. But these are much closer to the road car,
Yeah,
aren't they? These cars that you drive, and it just feels so well suited to it. I can't wait to see the series go there, and I
yeah.
bet you can't either.
It would be. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's gonna. I think we've got 3 races at Knockhill, so it's gonna be carnage because they're fast cars. But no, I think it'll be really good racing, to be fair, and people will get their elbows out, and it'll be again good fun to race there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It feels like places like Knockhill and Castlecombe and places like that are well suited to the TCR, the way the cars are set up. The
Yeah,
circuits are quick. Yeah, great fun, great fun. um, Obviously, wish you the very best of luck for this season. But it's a season, as you touched on earlier, that you're part of the driver development program.
yeah.
People may, sorry, with like Jazz Motorsport. Um, People may not be exactly aware of what it all entails. I mean, we hear about driver development programs in academies with like the Alpine F1 team, things like that. But fans and people like me, we don't all sort of understand exactly what it all entails. Can you just let us know what kind of thing what kind of things it's going to help you with?
I think it's going to help me quite a lot. I'm actually heading off tomorrow to go to Italy for my first time to go over there.
Blimey,
So
very
yeah,
nice.
no, it's all happened quite quickly, but I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll be doing some like
Oh, bear with me.
what is it gone? Or has it come back?
That's all right. We're back. Sorry, it just froze for a moment there.
Uh,
We'll blame the weather.
yeah, doing like lectures like learning how the tyres work, aerodynamics, just learning everything to help you become an all-round professional racing driver, and then hopefully at the end have a financial exit as such to getting a free drive within motorsport or a paid drive.
Right, gotcha. I mean, that's sort of cool, but that you can learn like the mechanics of things and the tire stuff, all that kind of a thing, because it's things that sort of not get overlooked, but it's not sort of things that we as fans immediately think about.
Yeah,
Some people just think, "Oh, you get in the car, drive it," but and also you need to sort of know what can happen and why type thing with the car, which
yeah,
sounds like that's going to be invaluable.
100%. I think if you know more about the car, it makes you a better driver, and I think that's I'm really looking forward to going and learning there, and yeah, so it's going to be throughout the whole of the year. So
Wow.
up until November, December time that I go over there and learn every month. So it's really good. We also do fitness stuff over there, like simulator stuff, and no, I'm really looking forward to it, and again, feel privileged to be a part of such a well-established team and program.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a fantastic sort of initiative that these people like Jazz Motorsport do. And rather than it being a one-off, it's like a long program thing, which is great. Quickly, which part of Italy is it in?
Milan, near Milan.
Oh,
So
horrible!
I
Who
read that
went
with
Milan?
bro. I'm not looking. I've checked the weather and it's meant to be 24 degrees. So
Do you need anyone to carry your kit or anything, or?
if you want to come along, Richard, you're more than welcome to.
Our phone work tomorrow. No, lovely stuff. Fantastic. That's very cool. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good line from Mike Cole here. It says a driver that uses his spanners. So a driver that uses the spanners learns far more on how the car works and is set up. Absolutely, getting your
yeah.
hands dirty, knowing what's what. It's just cool. But no, also like congratulations on being selected for it, and fantastic. It's a fantastic opportunity. Obviously, we've mentioned the future, and you're very happy with with like Restart Racing and Bert and Ben and everyone, and why wouldn't you be? But I mean, we'll go into like a hypothetical world here. I mean, this is no. Don't take this as read. All right, don't take this as gospel. I mean, is there anything that you'd like to sort of? Is there like an end goal at all, either within TCR or in any other form of motorsport, or is it just a case of seeing how it falls?
I think seeing how it falls. Look, if whatever I'm racing in, if I was racing like anything, I'd be happy because it's just getting behind the wheel. But I think the main goal, I'd love to be champion of TCR Europe and World Tour as well. That the new World Tour that they're doing.
Yes.
To be even a part of that, like that championship would be amazing. But to go and win it, that would be definitely a dream come true.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds like an expansion that Bert can look into to me. I reckon that's where we can start looking at in a couple of years. Because I saw recently that the TCR World Tour is I'm sure they said they're going to Bathurst
Yes,
in Australia. Oh, I mean that would do, wouldn't it?
that would be mental. I've done it on the sim a few times, and it's a mental track going down the hill, going like on the brakes. That's just
Down through the cutting and down through down off the skyline and stuff. Yeah.
it's mental, and it would again be a dream to race over there. Hopefully one day I can go and do it. But that would be mental. That would be.
Yeah, plenty of time for it. Plenty of time. I mean,
Yeah,
I think the very first chat we had on here was with chap like Rob Gravitt, who I'm sure people are familiar with, the touring car champion from 1990, and he raced Ford Sierra RS 500 at Bathurst, and he said going down the Conrod Straight towards the Kink, he said he was doing 190 in essentially a Ford Sierra. I mean,
mental.
that's just
That's
ridiculous. That's like F1 speed. It's
yeah.
just
That's I do it on the sim and I can barely keep it out the walls going around there. It's such a the top end of the track so tight, but to race there in real life must be amazing.
yeah, absolutely. That's one for the future.
Yeah,
But for the distant future, obviously, we've got some business to take care of in TCR UK first. Fantastic. Well, I mean, obviously, what we like to do, we like to just sort of run things down towards the end here with some fun questions that we always kind of try and ask people. I've got a few written down here. I mean, did you have a favourite driver growing up? I mean, you mentioned you watched the touring cars and the F1 and stuff when you were a kid. Was there anyone who kind of caught your eye?
I believe it. Well, it was Lewis Hamilton. So yeah, no, it was when I went to Rye House. They've got his F1 car up in the main area bit, and then just looking at that, and I'm thinking, then watching him like race on the TV, I think he used to be in that car just there. So yeah,
Wow.
he was the one, because that's where he started as well, Rye House. So I always looked up to him. Then actually, it was Ash Sutton as well. He used to work in the kart store there.
Oh,
At
of
Rye
course, yeah,
House.
of course he did. That's his
Uh,
neck of the woods, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, so just again, I think I was a kid. Well, when I was 10 years old, I didn't really know much what was going on, but just seeing him racing the Clios, well, when it was a BTCC support package, and seeing him do well, and just thinking that's what I would like to do one day. Yeah,
Sort of two pretty good drivers to be looking up to. I mean, they've done all right, haven't they?
they've not done bad by any means.
Yeah, not too shabby. Apart from Chris Smiley, obviously, do you have a favourite driver now? That you, it's got
I
to be
think,
Chris.
I think no, I think to me, Chris. I think just learning off of Chris, and yeah, that the wealth of knowledge that he's got is it's amazing to learn off of Chris, and yeah, I think that's somebody like who I definitely look up to, and also Bebu Girolami, who does was doing world TC world tour this year with
Yeah, he's
yeah,
just confirmed it, hasn't he? Yeah, he's
yeah, so definitely them two drivers, Chris and him, and yeah, no, I think I get to work alongside Girolami as well whilst over in Italy. So that's again a massive privilege, and gonna
wow.
learn as much as I can.
Yeah, that's an amazing guy to learn from.
Yeah,
He's a proper peddler. Yeah, and if you want to put in a good word, we'll come and
well,
get him on for a chat. 'Cause he's a top driver.
yeah,
Um, excuse me, just a quick one. Mark Wagstaff, he said, "Oh, I bet Scott knows John Huff from Rye House. Do you know John Huff from Rye House?"
yes, I
Yeah,
do. Yeah, I do. I remember him. I think he was when I first went there on the front desk, I believe it was. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Familiar face, Rye House. Okay, back to the fun questions. This might be a silly question. What's the favourite car that you've raced so far?
Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't really have to think about that. Yeah, I think it's just an all-round good car, and like what my dad says as well. It sounds the nuts. It's when you're on the launch control, it sounds good. And the first time I drove it as well, like with the Hyundai, put my foot fully to the floor, and just hearing that roar, it just, again made me laugh whilst in the car. So,
Fantastic.
yeah, no, I do love the Honda.
Excellent. Love that. Have you got a favourite circuit to race at, whether it be a kart circuit or a car racing circuit?
Uh, in the UK, it would have to be Donington. I do love Donington, but if I was to race at any track in the world, I'd love to race at Laguna Seca.
Oh, good
That,
shout.
yeah, I think that's my on the simulator. That's my favourite track. Just going around there, it's the corkscrews. Just again something else.
Oh, it's unreal, isn't it? I mean, it's definitely on. I think it's on everyone's bucket list. I think just to even
Yeah,
go and watch. But I mean, it's not just the corkscrew as well. You've got the sort of the left-hander at the start of the lap, then the climb up the hill, and then the corkscrew, and then the bit at the end. Oh,
yeah. The whole lap is just yeah, it's just amazing. It is.
it's awesome. I mean, if you see, because obviously like the IndyCar goes there. I follow IndyCar quite closely,
Yeah,
and there's a pass. I think it's known as the pass. It's Alex Zanardi and Brian Herter, and Zanardi just goes thumping on, goes round the outside, the top of the hill, goes all completely off the track on the right hander at the bottom, and goes thumping past. And you think, I mean, I can't think of anyone's brain, how their brain works, thinking, yeah, I'll try this. I mean, okay, you want to win, but it's like
Yeah,
it's like an 8-story drop, isn't it? It's just
it,
ridiculous.
it's mental, and I think that's. I think until you go there, I'd love to go there, but don't think the drop until you actually go there seems that big. It was the same when I went to Brands Hatch for the first time. Just walking down paddock, you think, bloody hell, that is steep.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I mean, even now when I go as a fan, and I've been to Brands Hatch hundreds of times, and even now when you walk down around the outside of the circuit and you look at it and you think, what are you doing? Especially on a bike, you think, but
it's
yeah,
mental. It's mental.
fantastic circuit, absolutely fantastic. Here's a good one. I mean, okay, just for one race, right? For one race, is there one series that you'd like to try? I mean, whether it be, I don't know, F1 or IndyCar, NASCAR, or I don't know, Brit Car or Le Mans, or is there anything that you think, oh, just one day I'd like to?
V8 supercars in Australia. That yeah, I've been watching it on
Awesome.
like watching like best overtakes, top 10 overtakes on YouTube, and yeah, that would definitely be something that I'd love to do, and that it just looks amazing. It does.
Yeah, it's because, and they've just obviously sadly they've got rid of Holden. Holden aren't no longer in it, and they were the kind of the mark for me growing up. They were the team,
Yeah,
or sorry, not the team, but the manufacturer, the Holden Commodore, and all that. But the new Chevrolet it looks good. It's a proper looking car, and they sound good in the circuits, and oh yeah.
yeah. I think they just do look amazing, and the rating's good in it as well. It's always really close, and some of the overtakes are just amazing.
And they're almost like not endurance races, but they're long touring car races, aren't
Yeah,
they? They've got pit stops and everything, which obviously we don't have over here. And I think that just adds to it. It's kind of like the elbows out of touring car racing. It's not as long as F1 or an Indy car race, but there's still the strategy in the pits and all that other kind of stuff.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, fantastic series.
Yeah, it is amazing. I think the when they go to Bathurst, I think they do like a big Bathurst race. I don't know what it's.
You got the Bathurst 1000, the Bathurst 1000 towards the end of the year.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
I mean, we're talking about bucket lists and stuff. I mean, for me, it's Indy 500, Daytona 500, Le Mans, and the Bathurst 1000.
Yeah,
They're the ones you want to get to. But oh, yeah, Bathurst.
sounds good.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Right, we have one more question. One more question. We always answer this, and I'm not going to say it's going to be easier for you because you're at the start of your career, but I've obviously spoken to people who have been driving for years and years, and have reeled off loads of drivers here. But you've raced against a lot of good drivers in obviously karts and in the JSCC and TCR. So far, is there anyone who's kind of stood out? I mean, we've got a few. You've got obviously like Chris Marley and Carl Bordy this year, Ant Wharton Hills, Jack Constable's there, Callum Newsham, Jessica Hawkins. Guys like the Kent brothers, even Bruce Winfield, very good. You race against Chloe Grant, who's off to do F1 Academy this year. I mean, is there anyone that you've raced against and you think they're good? They are seriously good.
Well, back in go karts, I did have the privilege. My teammate was Oliver Behrman, who's
Oh yeah, Ollie back. Yeah, yeah. I
Formula
met him at Autosport. He was up there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, you always knew that he was going to go far because he was just so good in a go kart, and yeah, definitely back in go karts, it was always him who was always setting the benchmarks, and learning from him was amazing as well. And then yeah, in touring cars or TCR, I think it again has to be Chris, and also like Brad Kent as well. They're both good racers, and yes, like it's good to learn off of them people.
Yeah, they're good people to have competed against, and well, hopefully there's going to be plenty more big names for you to come up against in the future. Obviously with TCR UK, and then obviously wherever it takes you, wherever it takes you thereafter. But I think that's it. I mean, I think we've sort of covered everything. I mean, just want to say thank you to everyone who's tuned in. But obviously, Scott, wish you all the very, very, very best for this year. Obviously, we'll be keeping tabs. I don't think Bert will let me switch off from you. Not that I would. But obviously, we just wish you all the very best for the season, and of course, Chris and Bert and everyone else at Restart Racing. Hopefully, the pace continues from the first round for you.
100%. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
And it's been fantastic having you on. Thank you for sparing your evening. And obviously, thank you to everyone who's tuned in for all the questions and the comments. I think we've got through them all. We'll have to have another catch up at some point, either this season or somewhere a bit further down the line, just to see how it's all going. But yeah, as I said, all the very best for this year. We'll be keeping tabs on you.
Perfect.
Nice one. Thanks very much, guys. Do stay tuned. We're announcing another live interview tomorrow. But once again, Scott, thanks very much. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. And thank you to everyone for all the support of the Hard Compound and of all the motorsport around the world. We need it. Good night, guys.
Thank you.